Welcome to the Creative Visionaries Podcast. My name is Tori Barker, a digital marketing specialist, business owner, mom, and you guessed it, a creative visionary. This podcast is about inspiring business owners, building connections, sharing success stories, and motivating others. Join me on this journey as we tap into your true potential and unleash your inner visionary. Hey there, podcasters. Are you looking to take your show to the next level? Let me introduce you to Podtask, the innovative platform that simplifies the podcasting process and equips you with the tools you need to succeed. With Podtask, you can say goodbye to the headache of managing multiple tasks and deadlines. This app provides a comprehensive systemization and task management platform that helps you streamline the podcasting process. And it doesn't just stop there. Podtask also offers AI-based marketing tools to give your podcast a competitive edge. As a fellow podcaster, I know from experience how important it is to have a reliable and efficient tool like Podtask to keep you on track. It helped me save so much time in post-production, which allows me to focus on what really matters, creating great content for my listeners. So if you want to take your podcast to the next level, be sure to check out Podtask. As a special offer to my listeners, you can sign up today and get started with their free forever plan by visiting creativevisionariespodcast.com/podtask. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again on the Creative Visionaries Podcast. Today, I am excited to introduce you to my guest, Aesha Tahir. Aesha is the founder of Tone and Strengthen, a corporate wellness company. She is an author of Unhunched, a book about discovering wellness through posture. And she is on a mission to help desk-bound professionals live healthier lives. Aesha, welcome on the show.
Tori, thank you so much. It's a pleasure being on your show.
So tell us how you got to this point in your life and this journey that you're on today.
Yeah, so I've been in the exercise science field for over 10 years now. My very first gig was as a spinning instructor to experienced cyclists. And there was like a room full, around 30 of them, which ended up with a standing ovation. So that was my cue, like, oh, you got something going there. And I wanted to spread the message of health and wellness to others. So I started teaching many different exercise modalities, started training friends and clients. And a lot of my clients were coming to me with pain, like they couldn't lift their shoulder up because they had shoulder pain. Lower back pain was very common in my clients. So I dove into human movement science after that. And for those of you who are not familiar with what human movement science is, it's an area of exercise science where we assess the muscle imbalances in a person and then offer a program to correct those. So human movement science was very personal for me too, because exercise was a way for me to overcome lower back pain and sciatica, which I had when I was working as a computer programmer. So I heard Shannon Russell's podcast episode, The Second Act, and that's exactly what this career is for me. So exercise science is my second act. And the reason why, because I had already been on this road before, and I wanted to help people who were in the same position as me, working long hours behind computers with pain. And I'm not talking about physical pain only, emotional pain too, because what happened, there was a big side benefit to having embracing exercise for me, that I started getting more empowered emotionally. I had a stronger mindset. So just because of a balanced and pain-free body, I had a different mindset. And this business that I have now for the last 7 years is a product of that stronger mindset. So that's my story. That's how I started.
I love that because it's so funny. People think about how health and business align, and there's so many connections, right? Like they talk about confidence, and like you talk about posture, and business people are typically in the grind, right? Especially entrepreneurs. They sit down, they work, they wait until, the last minute to get up and take a break or to go eat or have lunch or any of those things. And all of that is like a compounding effect on you emotionally and physically. And so I love that you're bringing light to this corporate wellness, and helping us desk-bound professionals to make sure that we're not overlooking that, because it's so important, like you said, to align with your health and your body and your wellness for a successful business owner, for a successful leader, for confidence, all of the things. There's so many alignments for health and wellness when it comes to business professionals.
There is. And if you look at the business professionals, what's their number one goal, right? What's the number one goal for us as business owners? To generate sales,
Yep.
to create value in our clients' lives, right? And
Yep.
how can you do that? The number one thing that, or tool that we have in our toolbox is communication, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how can you communicate as a business owner? How can you effectively communicate as a leader in your field?
Yeah.
Well, body posture. Why? Because 93% of all communication is nonverbal.
So true.
And I was listening to your podcast this week while I was walking, and your guest, Ativa D'Souza, was amazing because he talked about how creating video is so important, right? And when you're creating video, of course, you don't want to appear in a hunched posture. I'm just, those of you who are listening to this, I am over exaggerating my posture in rounded shoulders, dropping my chin to my chest, closing my front part of the body.
Yeah.
But that's what we are doing mostly when we are working behind the computer screen and typing away. So what's happening is this posture is communicating to our brain that we are defeated or depressed. We are trying to protect our heart. And now, so that heart, which is the center of our emotional energy,
Yeah.
we are going to also now transmit that energy to our clients that,
Yeah.
oh, there's something going on here, because I love the message, but somehow it's not communicating that higher self-esteem, that message effectively from this person. So we can improve the delivery and perception of our message by adopting a positive and open posture.
Yeah, it's funny. I talked about this on a couple of episodes, and it was before I would start a call or do a presentation, I would do the Wonder Woman pose, right? So the Wonder Woman pose, where you put your hands on your hip and you put your back out and you're very like strong, right? And so that would like look in the mirror and you see yourself as this confident person, and so that helps to boost your confidence before you get on a call, before you get on stage, or whatever it might be. But if you think about, that's the first step. But then once you're in the meeting, you need to continue that posture, right? And so it's interesting to think about how, I know myself behind the scenes. I'm very much like in this position of hunched over and typing and typing and typing because I'm so focused. I'm not even thinking about it. But are there any like little tips that you can give us bad postured professionals? Like, is there a trigger or like a reminder or something that you can do to quickly correct, right? Because it's almost like unconsciously you do that. So what is it that you can do to get that, change that mindset so that you get your posture in the right way?
Yeah, Tori, there is a lot to unpack here. So I'm going to take some steps and
Sorry.
unpack step by step. No, I love it. I love everything you said, because all of this is so important for the business owners and listeners. So first up, the power posing that we talked about, the Wonder Woman pose. So that comes from Professor Amy Cuddy, who is a professor of Harvard Business School. She did extensive research on how posture impacts people's feelings, behaviors, and what's happening in the background, like physiologically what's happening, right? So she suggested that, okay, if you hold an open, expansive posture where maybe you're extending your arms overhead. Maybe you have your hands on your hips and just opening your chest, right? Because what we are looking at when we talk about posture, mostly for desk bound professionals, is that we want to see shoulders down and back, head aligned over the spine, and chest open. So in whatever way you can assume that posture, if you hold it for 2 minutes, these are the changes they saw in our body. So they saw that the testosterone hormone, which is our power hormone, would rise up. So they would have higher testosterone level just by 2 minutes. Wow. Holding the power pose for 2 minutes increases the testosterone in your bloodstream. And then holding it for 2 minutes also lowers the cortisol levels in the bloodstream, which is your stress hormone.
Right.
And when you are presenting, on a podcast, on a video, or maybe you are in a high stakes pitching meeting, right, to your client, you don't want to be stress reactive. You don't want to appear that you're stressed out, right? But just by being like in a hunched over position, you are communicating that you're stressed out. Right? But just holding an upright posture, what would it do? It would reverse those testosterone and cortisol levels. So in an upright posture, you will have lower cortisol. You're not gonna be as stress reactive. You're not gonna appear as stressed out. So an unhunched posture is about sparking those physiologic changes that make you more confident. Now, the second thing that I want to get into is you mentioned, after a few minutes, I slump. And that's one of the biggest concerns of my clients. They're like, you know what? I start my day in an upright position. And then after 10 minutes, I find myself right here slumped down. Yeah. So what's happening is that posture is something that you work on continuously. It's not like a one and done thing. Yeah. It's almost like a habit that you have to develop during the day. Why? Because our natural posture is supposed to be relaxed and just unhunched, naturally unhunched. But in order for your body to get there, we need to just set reminders, as you said. Yeah. So on your computer or you're on your phone, set a reminder every 30 minutes to take a break for 2 minutes. So if you are on a podcast call like we are right now, right? So at the end of this call, I already know I'm going to go out for a walk for 10 minutes. But if you can't get away from the screen, you are in a meeting, just stand up at your desk and march in place. Or hold power poses for 2 minutes. You can turn your screen off for 2 minutes, I'm sure. Yes. Right? So those are a few ways to do it. Also, set a reminder every 30 minutes to unhunch yourself.
Yeah, I
love
that.
The more you practice, the more your body will be like, oh, this is not the right posture to be in. This is the correct posture. So we are losing the self-awareness of our bodies by working, prolonged periods of time behind the computer screen. Yeah. So one of the things that we need to do is to bring that awareness back. So setting a timer and going for, going to the water cooler to grab water for 2 minutes, maybe just doing some stretches at your desk. And a lot of the stretches are included in my book, or just holding a power pose for 2 minutes. You can unhunch yourself.
As a podcaster, you know that creating great content is only half the battle. That's where Remarker comes in. Remarker is a podcast branding, production, and marketing solution. Whether you're a seasoned podcaster or just starting out, Remarker will help you grow your show and build your authority. So why wait? Head to creativevisionariespodcast.com/remarker. That's REMARKR, where you can book a demo and discover how Remarker's full service approach can benefit you and your podcast. I love that. So we've talked about posture. Now I want to shift a little bit and talk about the fitness side of things. So I can tell you from my own personal experience, fitness and activity is a struggle right now as an entrepreneur because I am so focused on my business and growing my company and, talking to people, doing my podcast interviews, all of the things that I'm doing to grow my business, I have that set time in my day allotted, right? And then I have my family. So before work, it's the kids getting off to school. And then, I have my work hours. And then after, it's again, the kids and my family and sports and all these things. So for me, as a business professional, I struggle to get out and take a walk because I feel guilty, right? I have this guilt that I'm not doing business or I'm not doing work. And I know that it's wrong. And I know that I should be taking the time for myself, because if I'm not strong and if I'm not, healthy, then I can't, there's not a business to run. And then my family is suffering from it. So how do you help professionals like me get past that barrier to start being active so that they can be more successful with all aspects of their life?
Yeah, wonderful question, Tori, because I'm right there with you. I was right there with you. Because I would feel the same way, right? And I hear your struggle. Like as a business owner, you're like, I already have enough on my plate, right? And I don't want to now spend an X amount of time away from my kids because I want to be there for my family too. Right. So here are a few things that I would suggest. First up, like start creating activities with your kids that are more movement oriented. Like on weekends, I take my kids for a hike, or once the weather gets nicer, I'm on the East Coast, for biking. Every weekend we'll go on a trail and bike. And we have explored so many trails in the process, and my boys love it. Another thing I do on a daily basis is I walk to the bus stop. Unless it's like, frigid cold, like bone chilling cold, we just bundle up and we go and walk back and forth, both pick up and drop off. So that's a way. And then once the kids are home, when I want to take a walking break, I take them with me.
Yeah.
So what happens is I've realized they actually let me into their day during those walks. Otherwise, they don't talk because I don't know, maybe it's a boy thing.
Boys.
Right? They don't share much. But once they're on the trail with me, after 2-3 minutes, I'll ask, hey, so how's this friend doing? And then they'll just start.
Yeah.
So also maybe you can put a video on. If it's a cold day or you feel like not going out, put a YouTube video on. And ask your kids to grab yoga mat and just be there with you. I'm sure they're not going to get it the first time, but after the first few classes, they are right there with me and they're following and planking, and it's so funny to see them getting active too. So make it a family affair, I say.
Yeah. And the other thing that I'm hearing you say too is it's incorporated into your normal activities. So like potentially, like if you're making phone calls, you can put your headset in and you can take a little walk around the neighborhood while you make some phone calls. Of course, if you don't need to take notes and that sort of thing, but incorporating it into what you're already doing, kind of like stacking, right? So you stack your normal activities on top of this new sort of habit that you're trying to build. So I think that's great advice. I'm definitely going to try that. And I think, everyone listening can make an easy shift and do just like you said, like incorporate activity with your family, or, go take a walk while you make phone calls. So I think it's a actionable item that anyone can take moving forward.
Exactly. And that's one of the my go-to tips for even corporate professionals. I'm like, okay, can you switch one of your meetings to a phone call meeting and take it like as a group phone call or a Zoom audio call and go for a walking meeting?
Yeah, I love that.
We all can. I mean, that's like a 30-minute walk right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't have to walk fast. I mean, you don't want to be like huffing and puffing on the call, but you can be moving, and that's still beneficial for your body and your mind and everything.
Exactly. So what happens when you walk is that your calf muscles become active, right? So when we are sitting in our chairs, behind the desk, our calf muscles almost like become inactive and they shut down. But your calf muscles are your second heart. So they pump the
Interesting.
blood up towards your heart. Yep.
Huh.
So the heart is very good at pumping the blood down, but it takes a lot of effort for the heart to pump the blood up because it's going against gravity. So it
Yeah.
needs the help of your calf muscles, right?
Wow.
That's why the
Interesting.
cyclists and runners have such strong calf muscles. Have you ever seen those? Right?
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Yeah. So now it makes sense because
Yeah.
they run a lot so that they're pumping. So the calf muscles are pumping continuously the blood up, right? So
Hmm.
and this is such a huge misconception that you have to walk fast to see the benefits. Not at all. Go at your leisurely pace, I say. Whatever
Yeah.
is comfortable for you.
Yeah.
But exactly, take one of your meetings a day outside.
Yeah. I'm going to
That's
do
it.
that. I'm going to do it.
Yes, awesome.
Podcast on the road.
Awesome.
No, just kidding.
I've heard podcasts on the road though.
I know.
I have.
Okay, I've got two other very exciting things I want to talk about, so I want to make sure that we touch on them. So you have a workshop which is the body language for success. So I'd love for you to kind of talk about what that is and tell us about the workshop.
Yeah, so a lot of times like business owners are looking to generate value in their clients' lives, but we get stuck, right? What is it that's making us stuck?
Yeah.
A lot of times it's this self-esteem, lower self-esteem or confidence that, oh, like, we can't put this video out, or we can't put this content out, or we can't post this up because we don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Um, but but as business owners, we want to tap into our full potential, right? And confidence is key, as we just looked into it, that just dropping your cortisol levels is going to increase your confidence level. Just being in an upright posture is going to increase your confidence level. So in the body language for success, I talk about a lot of the things that we can do, small changes, minute changes. For that, James Clear, his book Atomic Habits, he's my
Yes.
hero
I love
because
him.
yeah, I do too, right? Just changing 1% every day. Same concept. What can you do? Like, what small steps can you take every day that would increase your confidence and improve your body language when you are talking to your clients, when you want to put the content out for your clients? So I'm going to give you two right now. One is to have your shoulders down and chest wide open when you're talking to your clients, and try to be very careful of it. Like, when you are talking or making a video or pushing the content. Two is to look up, to level up your thoughts. Right? A lot of times what happens is, since we are so used to of now looking down at our keyboards and our screens while typing,
Yeah.
our gaze goes down. When your gaze goes down, your body goes down. It's
Yeah.
just a natural reflex of our body, because our brain thinks, oh, this person is looking down. They're probably trying to move forward. So now it pushes our hips forward, just minute, nothing big. But those small changes are what is creating this imbalance in our bodies, right? So try to look in their eye. Not only will you now build trust with your client,
Yeah.
you will also be leveling up your own thoughts. You will have more self-confidence and self-esteem and self-worth. And we have seen this time and again as scientists, with the research studies that we have done on many different groups of people, that an unhunched posture means more self-confidence, more self-worth.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I feel like I have to come back and listen to my own episode to fully just understand and hear this again, because you're sharing such great information that is easily input into your daily life, but it's going to make a huge impact in the long run. So thank you for sharing that. I love that information. And then the last thing I want you to talk about is your book. So we touched on it a little bit, but first of all, I love the title, Unhunched, right? Because we're talking about posture and being hunched over. And so you want that unhunched posture. So talk about your book and how people can get a copy, and what are a few of the action items that they're going to pull out of the book that they read.
Yeah, so Unhunched, it came to me because I've been working with the clients who were always coming to me with pain, right? But what was the cause of the pain? I always look at the root cause. I'm like, okay, I understand that you can take a number of medications to overcome or mask this pain, which is wonderful, which you do need sometimes. But what is the root cause? Because we want to work on the root cause so that you are pain-free for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
So the root cause was that they were sitting in a hunched over posture. So I kept on thinking about the title and I was like, oh, unhunched.
I love
it should be unhunched, right? I'm going to just undo the hunch over posture. What is it? It's unhunched. But my book talks about the history of posture. We didn't start as unhunched species, right? 7 million years ago, if you look at our ancestors, we had a common ancestor with the gorillas and chimpanzees. And we were hunched over. But getting unhunched, having an upright posture, walking on two legs as a result of it, gave our ancestors the evolutionary fitness, as we like to call it in scientific terms, or survival advantage.
Yeah.
How? Because now they needed to see farther. They could see farther in the savannas, African savannas, and they could be on the lookout for any prey, right? Predators. Also, they could carry babies when they were trying to spread around the globe. They were moving, the tribes were moving. They could carry babies in their hands, but on all fours, they couldn't do that.
Interesting. Yeah.
So this posture is so uniquely human, and we don't want to lose it because it has helped our species survive for so many years. I talk about the history and evolution of the posture in my book in the first part. Then we go into how the breath affects the posture too, and also how posture affects breathing. So it's a bidirectional relationship. Same thing with the emotional empowerment. The posture affects how we are thinking about ourselves, about people around us, what we are communicating. And then the last section of the book talks about muscle imbalances, which I have been working with. And I have a program for desk-bound professionals that you can do in 15 minutes a day if you follow it, and it would improve your posture. That's it. So that's what the book is about. It's coming out in May. And if you want to learn more about it, you can follow me on LinkedIn. It's Aesha Tahir /in. And I would love to connect with you and chat more about it. And I do post all the updates about the book on LinkedIn too.
Awesome. Well, I am strongly encouraging, as you're listening to this, to obviously listen through the entire episode because we're towards the end. But now go to LinkedIn and connect with Aesha, and let's definitely get you a copy of that, because I'm going to pick up a copy myself, and we are going to be unhunched as a entrepreneur. And I'm just so excited and so grateful for having you as a guest and being able to share this information and this knowledge that, anyone can take, one piece of advice from here and just help themselves, feel better within, moments, right? 2 minutes, they can feel so much more better. And so thank you so much for being a guest. I wanted to just thank you again. And it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. It was so much fun. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for listening to the Creative Visionaries Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe, leave us a review, or share with a friend. Also, make sure to visit us online at creativevisionariespodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. And stay tuned for more episodes to come. And remember, it's time to tap into your true potential and unleash your inner visionary.